When I give this AI some input text, it will generate more text for us. Let's use this to create Deltarune Chapter 3 before it releases. It was a calm night at the Dreamer residence. Chris, Susie and Toriel were sleeping in the living room when suddenly Chris ripped their soul out of their chest and stuffed it into the gap between two couch cushions. Chris then proceeded to open the door and turn on the TV. Finally, they stabbed the ground with a knife to create a dark fountain and fill the room with a dark, thick mist. A sinister smile appeared in the static on the screen. Toriel looked concerned and screamed, "What the hell did you do?" Ha! She caught them in the act. And I didn't think she would talk like that. Chris proceeded to stand up and yell at her.
"You shouldn't have done that, Toriel."
Witnessing the crime?
"I'll come back later to ask you for forgiveness. Just enjoy the show while it lasts."
Toriel then continued to beg him to stop, until finally he responded,
"Fine, I leave. Just don't come back."
Toriel then frantically ran up to the TV and tried to destroy it by throwing it off the wall, but all she succeeded in doing was leaving a dirty mark on it. Toriel stared at the TV as Chris walked back into the living room and sat back down.
"Wanna watch some anime?"
Without answering, Toriel passed out again. Like every mother that can't handle the power of anime. The next day, when Toriel awoke, she was disappointed to find that she hasn't been attacked by Chris. Yikes, is she the kind of person who likes being hit? Her head was still pounding and her chest was still sore. Why is she still alive? She thought. Susie? Toriel shook her head as she went outside to make some breakfast. As she was chopping the eggs, she saw a figure in the back of the house, standing next to the entrance of the garage. When Toriel turned around, she gasped in horror. It was Chris. He was facing away from the house, as if he were waiting for her. Toriel tried to speak, but her voice wouldn't work. Oh no, Toriel thought. Chris knows. Toriel tried to run into the house, but was unable to move due to her pounding head. Chris stared at Toriel with an evil grin on his face, before turning around and walking out the front door, walking down the sidewalk. Toriel ran back inside and grabbed her sword, brandishing it at Chris. Stop right there, traitor! She yelled. This feels like the plot of a horror movie and Chris is the killer. Toriel wielding a sword sounds epic though. Chris continued to walk away as Toriel rushed into the garage. She noticed a large generator in the middle of the garage, with wires leading towards a large red switch on the other side of the room. She ran over and turned the switch to the on position. A loud roaring sound woke the Dreamer house, and the light in the room began to flicker. Toriel, still wearing her armor, went over to the switch and turned it off. The light in the room went back to normal, but the generator remained, keeping the house at a low voltage.
I must keep this thing here until the morning,
Chris thought as he walked over to the door. This is a bit confusing. It sounds like the generator isn't supposed to be there, and Chris installed it. Why did Toriel turn on the big switch without a second thought? That's so careless. And now she has armor too. Is she a knight?
I must keep this thing here until the morning,
Chris thought as he walked over to the door.
That way I'll be ready when Toriel wakes up. Once the house is again at full power, I can come back and haunt her.
As he passed by, Toriel glared at him with an enraged stare. Go ahead and try, she yelled. Chris just stared back at Toriel, daring her to kill him.
That will never happen, Toriel,
Chris responded as he got in his car and drove away. Toriel sat in silence for a few minutes before gathering herself and getting up. Wow, this was an intense start. Is Chris the antagonist now? She walked back into the living room and saw her little brother, the amigo, standing there watching the TV with a confused expression on his face. Why does he have such a stupid name? That will make it so hard to record lines without laughing. The amigo sounds so stereotypically Mexican to me.
Hey kid,
Toriel said, walking over and giving him a big hug.
How's your day been so far?
The amigo began to sob and said,
I've been watching the same old cartoons all day. I don't know why you put them on all the time. It's ruining my life.
I know, the amigo, Toriel said.
But I force you anyway because of your stupid name. But you just need to wait. Once you get into high school, you can get your own cable TV and watch whatever the hell you want.
The amigo didn't respond and began to cry again. Toriel frowned and said,
Come on, kid, let's go into the kitchen and make some breakfast.
Toriel's personality is so different here, yelling a lot, wearing armor, having a sword and an unknown brother. I have the suspicion that we are already in a dark world and this is her Leitner persona. Maybe she used the opportunity to try out a role much different than the calm mother she is in the normal world. Like some sort of escapism. Maybe she always wanted to have a brother? Who knows? And we shouldn't forget that while all of this was happening, Susie was still snoozing on the couch. Let's wake her up, shall we? Susie had been asleep all this time and only woke up just now.
Man, sleeping on actual furniture is awesome.
She looked around, noticing that Chris wasn't there anymore. Instead she saw...
My axe! Wait, doesn't that mean I'm in the dark world? What the heck? Is Chris's mom a freaking knight? That is awesome.
She walked to the kitchen area where Toriel was preparing breakfast with the amigo.
Good morning, Susie.
Hey, do you know where Chris went?
Oh, hi, Ralsei.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Ralsei?
The amigo wondered.
Who is that?
Susie was puzzled.
You haven't met my little brother yet, have you?
Toriel smiled.
His name is the amigo.
Susie tried really hard not to laugh out loud. It made her face hurt. Okay. So, why are you wearing a knight's helmet, Mama Toriel? Susie asked, still smiling. Toriel put down her frying pan and looked at her with a puzzled look. I actually wanted to know what the amigo is wearing, but I guess this is fine too.
Oh, he left that for you. I suppose you'll want to protect your sweet little heart. Besides, it's always good to be prepared.
No, my sweet little heart? That's right. You are still a child inside, so I should protect you from the world, right? I wonder where he's right now.
Yeah, right.
This is quite the conversation,
the amigo pointed out. You're gonna have to find your way out of here. You're gonna need me and Ralsei.
No?
Yeah.
But who is this Ralsei you're talking about?
Toriel asked. That's a long story, Susie mumbled. He looks like the amigo.
Like me?
Yeah, just a tad bit more wimpy. Anyway, we need to find Chris and seal this world's dark fountain. Toriel couldn't look into Susie's eyes anymore.
Chris,
she sighed.
Isn't the person they used to be.
She scratched her hand nervously.
Chris actually opened the fountain, I think. But I don't really understand what these fountains actually are.
What? Susie shouted in disbelief. They opened the fountain?
Yes, and the dark fountain sealed him in there,
Toriel replied.
I don't want you to get that person mixed up with Chris,
Toriel pleaded.
Do you honestly think that I would willingly do that?
Toriel asked. No, I don't, Susie sighed. Is she implying that there's a good and evil version of Chris, and that they are trapped inside of the fountain apparently? But maybe I should just call Chris him, since the AI is already defaulting to the male pronoun. Chris was at fault for his demise. It was him who sealed the dark fountain. He's very dangerous. I think she's talking about the other two fountains that have been sealed, since this one should be open.
Yeah, I know what he's like. I won't forget that,
Toriel said. I won't forgive him either, Susie whispered.
Then why do you want to make this pact? To save the world from darkness?
Yes, you have a good point there, Susie replied. And that is what Chris was doing too. He was trying to defeat the Dark Force with its divine power. Toriel placed a comforting paw on Susie's shoulder. Chris was not evil. It was the Dark Force which was the problem.
What?
Toriel asked. Well, it is a fact that Chris, who used to be an extraordinary hero, was a coward, Susie said. If he did his best to beat the darkness, it would mean that he was a hero. His failure would mean he was a coward. But I don't think that he ever did that. He just ran away as a coward. He never tried to do anything heroic. Toriel's voice was starting to crack.
As much as I have hated him for turning evil, I am at a loss for words to say how sorry I am. However, he also had many good qualities. He was loyal, brave, smart, and always protected his friends. He did his best with what he had. When the Dark Force started to take over the whole world, he did all he could to fight back.
Toriel had tears running down her face.
Chris was not evil. He was not a coward. He was a hero,
Toriel continued.
And you are the same person. You are an extraordinary hero, and Chris was also an extraordinary hero.
This is already so epic. Chris was trying to defeat the Dark Force, but was overwhelmed by it, and it created an evil version of him. Again, I'll just say him now, the AI has a pretty strong tendency for the male pronoun. I really like how Susie's and Toriel's opinions match their personalities. Susie is harsh, quickly calling him a coward for losing, and Toriel shelters him from blame, as a mother would. Even though he was really creepy earlier, she still sees the good in him. Susie understood that Chris was possessed by a dark force, and that the three of them needed to save Chris's true self, which was locked inside of the Dark Fountain, wherever it may be. This part of the adventure will be very different, I guess. It's strange not to have Chris around, Susie sighed. Toriel and her younger brother the Amigo tried to cheer her up.
We will find him. As his mother, I guarantee it,
Toriel said calmly.
Let's search for Chris,
the Amigo smiled. The trio left the house and found themselves in a bizarre, different world. This wasn't their hometown. This was somewhere called the Merector System, a space pirate's playground. Okay, space adventure it is. They were immediately docked at the Merector Navy ship Darkroot station, and were greeted by the captain, a tall 6-foot-tall purple man called Commander Seaferry. What is up with these names? He was the one who had appointed the Amigos the new captain of the Navy, but he told them that he was kind of sad about that. I always respected you. You are a good man. Do whatever you think is right, be that pirate or not, the commander shouted enthusiastically, and a smile appeared on his face. Sure. Good boy, you just arrived, but I'll make you the captain of the Navy now. He then gave them their assignments. They would be escorting the mercenaries that he was using as bodyguards. He told them that they should give them a tour, and so they set off for the first stop on their tour. The pirates were a group of 6 players, who served as Seaferry's bodyguards. They all wore grey uniforms and had a pirate-styled mustache. They wouldn't be pirates without a proper beard, of course. This was actually their first mission, and they were supposed to protect them from the monsters in the area. They did not know how long they would be on the planet though. As the 4 players sat down on the couch in their cabin, they heard the footsteps of the remaining member of their party. We already lost 2 of them.
Are you guys alright?
A cute voice asked.
Hey you, get over here.
The voice of a young girl called. Her face was covered by a black helmet and black armor. She had dark blue hair as well.
What's your name?
My name is Cloud. You know why you're here, right?
The portal is up, so I don't think we have much time to talk,
she said.
I was sent here to find the portal. I don't know why. I'm just a rookie, and I'm not supposed to go too deep in this place,
Cloud explained to the players.
I guess this is it. I'm going with you then.
This was a really epic introduction. I'm pleased with what the AI came up with. Toriel as a knight is a really cool idea. Join me next time when the grand space adventure begins. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. If you want more crazy AI shenanigans, I already used this AI to rewrite the entire story of Undertale. The playlist is in the description. Frankie K is also turning that wacky story into a comic over on DeviantArt. A link to that is in the description as well. And with that said, I'll see you next time for part 2 of
AI Rune.